Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and this is the follow-up video to the Patreon. Saturday night, me and my brother finished everything. He left Sunday morning. I think I announced it during the live stream of the Saints game Sunday, but I didn't do a video yet because I wanted to play around with it, figure it out. Besides my brother helping me with like thumbnails, the sites and stuff like that, I'm pretty much doing everything myself and using trial and error to do it. So we finished the Patreon, and you need a way to store the downloads. So Patreon suggested Vimeo. It connects directly to Patreon. It is like a $20 a month thing, but there's a 1 month free trial. So I did the lowest one just so I could figure it out. You get 20 gigs a week. 20 gigs a week fills up pretty fast. That's about 8 or 9 full-length episodes. So it's a decent amount if you're putting stuff out weekly. But I wanted to try to put up older stuff like the full reactions to The Wire, stuff like that. Right now, I'm not going to do that because I think it's like $75 a month for 7 terabytes. That is a whole lot of data, and I could easily put up everything. I don't want to like dive into something like that till I fully understand the inner workings of it. You see all these shows up here. I'll get to that in a second. I'll put a link down below in the description. Go check it out. We put 7 tiers. Some are ridiculous. Some are like pretty reasonable, but the lowest tier is $3 a month, and you get full reactions to everything new that's dropped. Eventually, I'll get the full reactions to The Wire and True Detective and stuff like that up. But in the beginning, whatever you see from this point on, you'll get full reactions to everything I post on YouTube on the Patreon. Right now, I've already used up like 15 out of the 20 gigs just experimenting on things. It's one of those things where I was like, what happens if I do this? And when I did it, it used up some of the gigs. I was under the impression I could like click on the video, see like what kind of memory it would take up and play around with it. The second I clicked it, it uploaded and it used up my gigs. By using trial and error, I've already blown through 3/4 of my gigs for the week. Granted, we set it up on Saturday, so I would assume by Saturday I'll get another 20 gigs. I'm really not sure yet. I also don't know if Vimeo is the best way to go. It was the suggested route for Patreon, and it seems to be very easy once I figured it out. My problem in the beginning, and I'd appreciate if any of you could suggest help, I was uploading them to Vimeo, which was using my gigs, and I couldn't figure out how to put them onto Patreon. I don't know if there was a link and you could follow the link. I'm not really clear on what it was doing. Then I realized you got to upload them to Patreon, and then Patreon hooks to Vimeo, and then it stores it in Vimeo. Once I figure that out, I'm good to go. But by the time I figured that out, I already wasted like 8 gigs. So Deadwood is on Patreon right now, but it's episode 12, the finale. I never did episode 11 because episode 11 I did the reverse way before I figured it out. So right now episode 11 is on Vimeo, but not on Patreon. Maybe some of you guys know more than me, and there's a way to get the link to go to Vimeo. I'm not sure yet. Like I said, I just did this all in the last like couple hours. So this video was to basically tell people it is up and running if you want to go check it out. I also want to know how many people are interested in actually subscribing to the Patreon, because if a lot of people jump on board, I'll just jump into like the premium tier of Vimeo, pay the $75 a month, and I'll get 7 terabytes, and then I could just throw everything up. I've said this many times. I'm not necessarily doing this to make money. If enough people join and I can make the $75, I'll throw it right into Vimeo and then get basically, in my mind, unlimited data. I probably have 2 terabytes worth of videos in total from all of YouTube in the last year. So that would be more than enough to get all the full reactions out. I just want to make sure enough of you guys out there want this. I don't want to be spending money to do free content, if you get what I'm saying. But here's the deal. The reason these 5 shows are up there is because I have completed season 1 of Deadwood, Misfits, and Barry. They're not all up on YouTube right now because I just did them yesterday. I marathon the last 2 episodes of every show. I have 2 episodes of each of those left for YouTube, but I've watched them all in full, and the full reactions are either on Vimeo or Patreon. It's just I didn't know how to link them. If you guys want to subscribe to Patreon, the full reactions of these will be up sooner than the edited versions, and some of them are already up right now. I just got to play around with it a little more to figure out how to get it right. But within the next couple days, I'll have figured it out, I'll have bought more data, and I'll have them all up. That's the reason why it's taking me so long to get the edited versions on YouTube, because I've been spending all my free time figuring out the Patreon, trying to figure out how the whole system works. Adventure Time is the last show that got me a strike. I'm worried about Adventure Time as far as putting it on YouTube, even chopped up, because I edited it and still got a strike. So Adventure Time might just be a Patreon exclusive show. I'll do 1 or 2 episodes a week, throw it up on Patreon. Whether or not I chop it up, it's going to have full reactions on Patreon regardless. So if you guys are interested in that show, it's going to start popping up on Patreon. Mandalorian, I am loving. Episode 1 is up on YouTube in 2 parts. Episode 2, I have re-edited a million times. Disney Plus is giving me some struggles. So I'm going to attempt to chop them up. But in the meantime, pretty much an hour after The Mandalorian airs, from what I've just experienced, I could shoot up a video and a full reaction in pretty much like 30 minutes to an hour because I don't have to edit it up. So if you guys are interested in The Mandalorian, those will be up pretty much almost immediately. Now that I'm finished with season 1 of the bottom 3 shows, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to do 1-part mashups, throw the full reactions on Patreon. That will allow me to eventually start doing more and more shows. Once I feel that I have Patreon going exactly how I want and everything is running smoothly, I'm going to start throwing up more shows. I want to do Watchmen. I want to do The Boys. If you look at the other tiers in Patreon, you could suggest pilot episodes that I will watch. You could suggest shows exclusive to Patreon, stuff like that. So once I have this rolling and I feel comfortable and everything is running smoothly, more shows will start flying up on Patreon, and then those will get 1-part chop ups on YouTube. Basically what's happening is the parts are getting limited to 1-parters so I could add more shows and get more content out. And if you guys enjoy it, you can subscribe to Patreon and do it that way. If you guys have any questions, if you have anything you want to ask me, if you have anything you could suggest to me to help, I figure Vimeo seems like the most efficient way to do it, but I also have no experience in it. It literally said, download this and you can integrate it right into Patreon. And once I figured it out and wasted 8 gigs, it does run very smoothly. I just don't know if there's like cheaper forms of doing this or easier forms of doing this. All I know is if enough people subscribe to Patreon, I will upgrade to the premium form of Vimeo, which, like I said, gives you basically unlimited data in my mind. Right now, it's going to be like kind of touch and go till I get used to it, but it's up and going. And if you guys want to help out, if you guys want to subscribe, if you guys want to see these shows, full reactions, every dollar that goes into Patreon, I'm putting back into the Patreon and the channel. You guys know me by now. I've been doing this almost a year, and I took this long because it's not about making money, but I figured if I want to get bigger and do more stuff and get you guys more content and get you full reactions and do a Patreon and all this, I kind of have to make money to do it. So that's where we stand, guys. But anything you want to talk about, comments down below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one or in Patreon. Peace.